Callum Foster will lead the way this time with Freddie Lines alongside with Leon Barlow and Oliver Fabricius sharing the second row. Jared Fox-Whiteley and Taz Groom on row number 3. Ben Horner starts 7th. He's got Ben Adrian, who led the early part of the opening heat, alongside with Sonny Morgan and Jack Burgess on row number 5. Heat 1 winner Lewis Goff goes off 11th place. Now, what will be very, very interesting for heat number 3 is I think we are due to have Lewis Goff and Jared Fox-Whiteley go off fairly similar grid positions for heat number 3. I'm just having to confirm that. They will go off the front row together with each other in heat number 3. So your top 2 in the championship now, after that first heat of the morning, will be going off the front row together with Goff on pole position and Jared Fox-Whiteley alongside. So the grids from yesterday have changed ever so slightly. We've had, obviously, with Freddie Lines electing yesterday morning to park the Honda and break out the Mini Max. He goes off the second place berth here then in this second heat of the day. Thank you for joining us here at Llandow. Apologies if you are still having some issues with the pickup in terms of the internet. We're not having a great time with things on that side of things, but thank you for sticking with us. Hopefully you can still hear us and get what's going on. If you want to have a look at a bit of live timing as well, that's at live.alphatiming.co.uk/cadet-kart-champ. Heat number 2 for Mini Rotax is underway. And Callum Foster, I think, sweeps around the outside of Leon Barlow to lead the way in front of Fabricius. Fox-Whiteley drops into 5th place with Lewis Goff from the back of the pack trying to make early inroads. He's taken 1 place already, could be 2 as he gets past Sonny Morgan, but then can't get alongside Ben Horner, but then has the 36 of Taz Groom running slightly wide down there at McWhirters, and this makes up 3 places then on the opening lap as he tries to go with damage limitation here then from 11th place. Got to try and just keep the nose clean in the opening couple of laps and pick off everybody in front as they make their way down the back straight for the first time. And it looks like it's going to be Callum Foster leading us over the line at the first time of asking it is, with Leon Barlow in 2nd place, but Barlow managing to get through into the hook. Oliver Fabricius in 3rd place, with Jared Fox-Whiteley then up into 4th. Ben Adrian 5th. Looks like we then had Ben Adrian, I think, in 6th. It is Ben Horner 7th, Lewis Goff 8th, Jack Burgess, Sonny Morgan and Taz Groom completing the runners here at JKC. Heat number 2 for our Mini Max class. And Callum Foster has had the lead taken away from him by Leon Barlow. Barlow managing to make his way through down the back end of the track. So the top 4, though, have broken away ever so slightly. Looks like there's been a few changes of position in the middle part of that as we get confirmation of Ben Adrian, Ben Horner, Lewis Goff and Jack Burgess all moving up place. Puts Ben Adrian up into 5th there. It's got a bit of a gap though back to between him in 5th and this battle for the lead in front, with Barlow leading the way from Foster, Fabricius and Fox-Whiteley. Fabricius goes down the inside there, just caught it in the move down into Chandler's at the far end of the track, and he is through, as is Jared Fox-Whiteley. Ben Adrian's through as well. Not sure where Callum Foster has gone. I mean, there he is in the background coming through, as Fox-Whiteley too is down the inside of Fabricius. Fabricius is going to get the cut back. Who's going to get the run down towards the hook? It's going to have to be brave from Fox-Whiteley to stick it out round the outside. He has to slot back into the line behind Oliver Fabricius. So it's Barlow, Fabricius, Fox-Whiteley, Adrian, Horner, Goff. Foster then down now into 7th place. Fox-Whiteley is through on Fabricius into the double left down there at Surtees. Now he's got a gap of over a second though to try and reel in Leon Barlow. Having finished the opening heat of the day well down the order, Jared Fox-Whiteley having come into contact with Jack Burgess running up on the back, and then both those carts having to be separated. Down the back straight they come though. First 2.5 minutes in the bag. Fox-Whiteley sets the fastest lap of the race, so that's immediately snatched away from him by Ben Horner in 5th place. Just closed the gap up ever so slightly, but it was only 0.003 of a second did Fox Whiteley close in on Leon Barlow in that previous lap. The top 7 split by a little, well, it's from second actually down into 6th place, split by less than a second. So they make their way into the Dell complex of corners out. The right-hander at the end of that is Diggers. Fox with Goff in the background there now. Lex thought about dipping out of the slipstream of Ben Horner in front, but stays in 6th place. Gap comes down ever so slightly again, half a tenth between Jared Fox Whiteley and Oliver Fabricius. Not even at half race distance yet, but let's see whether Leon Barlow can just hold this gap steady. Back to Fox Whiteley, who doesn't appear to be coming under a huge amount of pressure, but from Fabricius so far, Fabricius just content to work with Fox Whiteley, push along. In the background, Goff has managed to get past Horner, and Ben Adrian is slowing down the back straight. He's on the outside. I think he's just going to roll straight off. Is he into the pit lane? No, he's going to come back round, but he's on the outside. Not sure what the problem is there for Ben Adrian. Has a quick look down to the left-hand side. Thought he might have elected to come straight into the pit lane. I don't know whether he's trying to fire that cart back up again. But Ben Adrian, who was in 6th place, is now going to be down in 11th. Even if he does get that cart restarted and going again, was just slowing down the back straight. Now here at Llandow, the pit exit is on the racing line. You come straight down the racing line, straight into the pits. So it's not like he could cut to the inside and head off into the pits or anything like that. That's why he stayed on the racing line. If he needed to come in, that's where he'd have needed to have been anyway. And it's better for him to stay consistent and on that racing line, and everybody else would move to the inside. Ben Adrian, though, with problems, that drops him all the way down to 11th. We'll see whether he's still running. I'll try and keep an eye out. Looks like he could be back up to speed again. So I'm not sure what the problem was there for Ben Adrian, but there he is in the 48, throwing that cart round the Raymond's hairpin at the bottom of the track. So he's back up to pace. Isn't too far away in terms of time, I don't think. We'll see where he is off the back of everybody else. He's 5 seconds off the back of Taz Groom. So see whether he's got enough speed to try and reel that in the remaining 4 minutes. Speaking of reeling in, Jarrow Fox Whiteley and Oliver Fabricius have thrown a line onto Leon Barlow and have dragged him back into a battle for the lead here. The gap a few laps ago was 1 second. Now it's less than 2 tenths as Jared Fox Whiteley is right on the back of Leon Barlow. There's a smaller gap back there to Oliver Fabricius, so Jared Fox Whiteley has this kart set up for the second half of the race and is down the inside of Leon Barlow into the left-hander at Surtees, and Fox Whiteley leads with 3.5 minutes remaining from Leon Barlow and Fabricius. Then there's a gap back to Lewis Goff, who managed to get past Ben Horner and as well as Ben Adrian down that back straight earlier on when Ben Adrian had those problems. Gap though back there is a 1.25 seconds at least to Fabricius. So the top 3 nose to tail. Let's see whether Goff can close in as he crosses the line. His time actually goes out ever so slightly to the train in front, but there is 3 of them working together, punching that hole in the air rather than Goff, who is working by himself to try and close up. Personal best for Callum Foster in 6th place. That time with a 45.5. Personal best as well for Oliver Fabricius, who was half a second quicker than Leon Barlow, with matched times almost identically with Jared Fox Whiteley. We'll see whether Fabricius then can make the move down the back straight as we see the top of his Nauseo panel bouncing up and down as he goes over the curbs down there at the Dell. Not sure what that's doing for his eyesight, but it can't be that good with the Nauseo panel bouncing around. Not sure whether one of the bolts has come out of the side. Certainly not enough to have him brought in under a mechanical, because it's not the bottom one, it's not flailing round, and there's a bolt in either side of that, but not sure if one's come out, but that nose bouncing around a lot on the front of the 90 of Fabricius. Leon Barlow sticking with Jared Fox Whiteley and sets a personal best on the previous lap, 2 tenths quicker, and is right with our race leader. See whether he's close enough down this back straight. Pops out of the slipstream of Jared Fox Whiteley, moves down the inside And then Fox Whiteley will run a lot wider, try and get the cut back over the start-finish line, and does so. And Fox Whiteley is back into the lead. This is exactly what Lewis Goff in 4th place needs these drivers in front to be doing, because whilst ever they're in a straight line, pushing that hole through the air, the way it sort of works is the driver at the front pushes the hole, then the driver at the back is the only one that's sort of then the air going over the top. If they're all nose to tail or close enough, they're punching a hole through the air that with 3 carts always is going to go quicker than one until they start battling, and then the driver and the cart behind, that's where they really come into their own and will start closing up. Down the back straight they go though, Fox Whiteley leading from Leon Barlow and Oliver Fabricius. This time Barlow either not close enough or electing not to try and move on Jared Fox Whiteley. Head through the hook, 44 seconds remaining. It's going to be very, very close in terms of time as to whether they get round before that last lap board is out. I think they might do, so we could be on for 2.5 more laps here as they head down. As Oliver Fabricius takes to the grass on the outside, takes too much curb, and as we've mentioned earlier, when that happens, you just get on the curb and you just have to ride the curb out all the way to the end, because there's just no way of getting off it. Then when you get to the end, it is a trip across the grass, kicks the dust up, and what was a gap of 1.2 now to Lewis Goff has closed right up. Leon Barlow got a good run there out of the final corner, tried to get alongside Jared Fox Whiteley. Looks like at the moment Barlow, this kart might be coming back to him in the final phase of the race as he looked after those tyres and just kept the temps perfect for the final lap and a half. Last lap board will be out to meet them when they come round this time. It was less than a tenth over the line as Barlow got the good run out of the final corner at Raymond's to try and move his way through. Will he try something similar on the last lap to just get a good run out and get alongside? Doesn't need to be past Fox Whiteley into the final corner. If you can get a good run out onto the start-finish straight, that will be enough for Leon Barlow if he can get alongside. Can't this time. Still only a 1/10.5 between them as the last lap board does indeed come out here at Llandow. Let's see whether Fox Whiteley is more defensive or whether he's confident enough that he can be late enough on the brakes. Certainly doesn't defend too much down there into Surtees. Similar down at Macworthy. Looks over his shoulder though, will be much more defensive I think, and does indeed turn in a cart width or so earlier into the right-hander down at Chandler's. We watch them through the dell for the final time. Barlow close enough to Fox Whiteley. Fox Whiteley comes to the inside on the rarely used bit of tarmac, and now Leon Barlow double switch back. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Fox Whiteley's going to get it, but what an attempt from Leon Barlow to try and snatch the victory out of the clutches of Jared Fox Whiteley on the final corner. Fox Whiteley though takes the victory with Barlow in second, Goff in third, having got past Fabricius towards the end of the lap, with Horner, Morgan, Foster, Burgess, Lines and Groom completing your top 10, with Ben Adrian only managing to recover to 1.8 off, having dropped away from 6th place in the early part of that race, having run really, really well